Wow. Thank you, Chris. I bring you greetings from the great state of Iowa and the Iowa Hawkeyes. You can all boo now. All right? Your great president of this great international union's cleaned my clock every time Iowa and Ohio play. I've given him more money than I care to. First of all, I want to thank Chris, your executive board, and you, the members, because during our fight, Chris and some of your staff, some members came out to Iowa to help us in this re-signing project I'm going to talk about a little bit later. And I appreciate that. The International Union has been with us in what they call ground zero for the fight of public sector collective bargaining. You know, I feel like I'm preaching to the crowd because you guys have already done this once. But you had something available to you that we did not, and we do not, and that's the citizens' veto. But I believe that the Republicans are getting meaner and meaner and meaner, and I hope I'm not offending anybody in this crowd, but if I am, that's too bad, because that's what I believe. Okay. That's part of that blunt shit the Register said about me. Because I think if a state, and this is going on in Missouri right now, which also happens to be one of the states that's in our council as of May of this year. We're going to fight a citizen's veto on right to work in Missouri. But I honestly believe with my whole heart and body that if we win that fight and we get that repealed, the Republicans and the governor in Missouri will pass it 1 week later. And that, I believe that's the fight that we're up against right now. They don't care about you sitting in this room. So, the reason Iowa is in the mess that we're in is because the Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the governor's chair, much like you guys have been fighting with here. For 12 years, we've had the protection of a Democratic Senate, where all the bad stuff was sent to the Senate from the House, and it got killed. We lost that on November 8th. So I'm going to give you a little history about Iowa. I'm going to say some things that some people in this room may think that I'm crazy for saying. But Iowa's been a right-to-work state since 1947. We have never had fair share. Right? But we passed a collective bargaining law in 1974 that was as good a collective bargaining law and probably a model collective bargaining law because we had final and binding arbitration on anything that was a mandatory subject to bargaining. Council 61 turned 40 years old this March. We just had our convention in July, and for some crazy reason, those folks reelected me again, unopposed. I think they're scared to nominate somebody because I might actually leave. But our law that was passed in '74 was passed by a Republican House and Senate, signed by a Republican governor. It was debated for 12 days. There were 150 amendments on that bill, and each amendment was debated. And the deal that got this passed was we gave up our right to strike for binding arbitration. And I believe that was the right deal. The first contracts were negotiated in Iowa in 1977. We had units there prior to '77. We had a unit that was formed in 1937, 75 years old, 80 years old. So we've had, ASME's been in Iowa for a very, very long time. Council 61 is a little different than your council. We represent state, city, county, school, and private sector. We're the only council in Iowa. I don't have two sister councils. But we represent anybody that is represented by ASME in Iowa. At the present time, we have bargaining rights for over 40,000 people that work in Iowa. Last 2 years, under the ASME Strong program, this little pissant Right to Work Council signed up over 4,000 new members. Got to change my notes. Our current membership is unknown right now, and I'll explain that in a little bit. But at the time they gutted our collective bargaining law, our membership was 13,700. And before you start doing the math, in a right-to-work state, that's pretty good, because nobody has to belong to the union. The only way they become a member is to reach into their pocket or their checkbook or through their payroll deduction and join. And if they don't join, I still have to represent them. And we bargain over 160 contracts in the state. We got over 180 different bargaining units. Now the hard part. I would give my right arm to not be here today. Because what I have to tell you now is how the Republican Party destroyed collective bargaining in the state of Iowa, and how Council 61 has been impacted. On November 8th, the Republicans took control of our government. We had a governor that was reelected by the name of Terry Branstad. He's now the ambassador to China, and I hope he is enjoying the smog over there. But he was in the Iowa House in 1974, and he was one of the few Republicans that voted against Chapter 20. So when I went to bed on November 8th, it was really kind of a rough night, because I knew we had elected the wrong person president. I firmly believe that. And I knew then that I was basically going to be under complete attack by the Republicans in Iowa. And I knew they were coming after our collective bargaining law. So on November 9th, I called all my union reps in that work for me. I have a grand total of 11 of those. Kind of shows you the difference between your council and mine. And I asked all 11 of those reps to go out and talk to every one of their employers and extend every contract they possibly could for as long as they could. I did that based on the Wisconsin experience. Because in Wisconsin, they did not lose their contract until that contract expired. So we went out and we extended all but 15 of our contracts. All right, so that was the first step that I did. Second step is we held a statewide meeting, and over 70% of our leadership came in. In January, we held 16 regional meetings across the state. 8 on a Saturday, 8 on a Sunday, and that we talked to the membership out there about what the heck was coming their way. We developed a plan in December, took it out to our membership in January. On December 9th, the first day of the legislative session, we brought about 2,000 folks to the state capitol to greet the Republicans, to let them know we were there. They sat on our bill till February. We knew it was there. I went and met with all the leadership of the Republican Party, and they told me, Danny, we're just going to nibble on the edges. We're not going to take anything away from you. Well, they lied. They rolled this bill out the second week of February. The third week of February, they held about 12 hours of debate. They timed certain debate. They ended debate on Thursday. The And basically, any amendments that weren't debated at that point in time had a straight up or down vote, no discussion, no conversation. They passed, both chambers passed the bill on February 16th. They sent it down to the governor on February 17th, and he signed it. What this bill does, and what this bill did, it took our collective bargaining law and completely and totally gutted it. We had a laundry list of things before that were considered mandatory topics of bargaining. Things like health insurance, transfers, layoff, seniority, vacation, overtime, holidays. All those things were made either an excluded subject to bargaining or a permissive subject to bargaining. They created 8 or 9 excluded subjects of bargaining. Our pension's always been excluded. Health insurance is now an excluded subject to bargaining. Transfers are now an excluded subject to bargaining. Layoff are now an excluded subject to bargaining. Health and safety is an excluded subject to bargaining. Performance evaluations are excluded subject to bargaining. Because they passed this bill on the 17th, we had to restart state bargaining under the new law. We'd been in bargaining with the state since December. And basically, they were just stalling us out, waiting for this bill to be passed. I believe the reason the bill was passed on February 17th is because I had arbitration scheduled on February 22nd. The other thing that's an excluded subject to bargaining, folks, is payroll dues deduction. It's gone. It doesn't exist. And the other thing it created was recertification elections. So, one of the subjects that we have as a mandatory subject to bargaining is wages. And when we're at the table, if I can get an employer to agree to 10% across the board, I can get 10% across the board. But if I have to go to arbitration, even though wages are a mandatory subject to bargaining, the arbitrator is limited in what he or she can award to the Midwest CPI, which is the lowest CPI in the country, or 3%, whichever is lower. In February, when we were in bargaining, the Midwest CPI was 0.6%. And we have to bargain a 2-year contract. When we were sitting in front of the arbitrator on February 22nd, I was looking at a 0.6% pay raise. Because I'm pretty good at pulling stuff out of orifices that nobody wants to talk about, I was able to hoodwink the state into a 1% pay raise each year. But there was nothing else in our contract. That was it. Also, because I sometimes can make stuff happen that other people may not be able to make, we had to do a PERB hearing on every item that was in our current contract to determine whether it was permissive or mandatory. PERB determined 2 other items in my current contract were mandatory. Paydays, what day you get paid, whether it's every 2 weeks or monthly or annually, and the job classification pay grade. So in Iowa right now today, folks, those are the only 3 items that the union can take to arbitration. I can't bargain over health insurance. I can't bargain over vacation. I can't bargain over sick leave, transfers, layoffs. So if you got a lot of gray hair like I do, and you're a state employee, who the hell do you think they're going to lay off first? I'm 64 years old. If I worked for the state, I'd be maxed out on my pay grade, maxed out on vacation, maxed out on sick leave. Well, there's no cap, but I'd have a whole lot of sick leave. It's going to be easier to get rid of me and keep some 18, 19, 20-year-old kid. I'm not making fun of 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. I got a 21-year-old daughter who's a senior in college, okay? But that's what the employer is doing. We also have to hold recertification elections. These are really fair elections, let me tell you. 1 year prior to the expiration of your contract, every bargaining unit has to hold an election to determine whether or not the employees want to be represented by that union. And just like in any other election, 50% plus one is normally the winner. No, not in Iowa. We have to get 50% plus one of everyone in that bargaining unit to vote yes. So all the no votes, all those people that sit on their butt at home and don't bother to vote, their vote is automatically counted as a no vote. That's just blatantly unfair. So, we start those recertification elections in October of this year. We have 49 units that we have to do. Guess who gets to pay for those recertification elections? The union does. So I have to pay for election. I have no input in how it's run. I can't tell them how we want it to be conducted. I just pay them. And if I don't pay them, they immediately decertify the unit. And that, by the way, is nowhere in our new law. That's just a rule they made up. That's basically the Iowa collective bargaining law. Now, before I talk about the other parts and what else has happened to us, this bill is coming your way. This is an ALEC bill. When they were doing this bill, I was told that what we were going to get was either going to be nibbling at the edges or Wisconsin on steroids. We got Wisconsin on steroids. This is Wisconsin on steroids. This is the exact same bill that's sitting in the Missouri legislature that will be run next year, that I'm going to have to try and beat back down in Missouri. And if you've checked the political demographics of Missouri, it's very highly Republican. So I have no doubt in my mind that this is what they're going to pass in Missouri. And they're taking this to state by state by state. And if you believe you're safe because you beat back one attempt, folks, I'm here to tell you, you're not safe. ALEC is out there working. They're working in all 50 states in this country, and I have spoke all across the country. I don't want anybody in this room to feel sorry for me or my counsel, because I'll kick their ass before we're done. We are not quitting. Now, talked about it a little bit this morning. They thought they were going to break me by taking payroll dues deduction away from this council. Stroke of midnight on June 30th of this year, I lost 9,500 dues-paying members. 9,500 people that we had members in state service no longer had payroll deduction. And I knew that was coming because everywhere they pass this, they've taken payroll deduction because they believe deducting your union dues from your paycheck is somehow causing them an undue burden. But yet they'll deduct United Way. They'll take a credit union payment or a car payment out of your paycheck. In Iowa, they take all kinds of crap out of their paycheck, out of employees' paychecks. But they're not taking union dues anymore. So in January, we decided to go down with a company called Pledge Up and do EFT deductions. Basically, we take it out of your checking account, out of a debit card, or out of your credit card. But guess who gets to pay those fees for that process? The union gets to pay those fees. It wouldn't be fair to pass that on to the members. So that's another little reduction of our income. But through the efforts of my staff, the international staff, affiliates from all across this country who came in to help us, we signed up 5,500 of those folks. Of those 5,500 people, 1,000 of them were never members before. The other reason they take payroll deduction away from you, and I don't know, Chris, if you have it here in Ohio where you can deduct people out of your paychecks, we could do that in Iowa. And Iowa has been recognized, I think, at every convention since I've been president because I believe in people. I'm telling you, folks, you may not want to believe this is a solution that involves politics, but everything they did to us in Iowa is directly related to politics. It does not have a damn thing to do with the budget or fiscal responsibility. It has everything to do with the Republicans trying to get rid of public employees' unions. They took away our people deduction. Well, that didn't work real well for them either, because during this process of signing up 5,500 folks, of that 5,500, we signed up over 2,000 of those onto people. Okay, I also, on February 20th, I also filed a lawsuit. We're challenging this lawsuit along with the Teachers Association in Iowa. They actually held their court case today. We got delayed. They didn't file till 2 months after we did. We got delayed because some scab school teacher filed to intervene on our lawsuit because he wanted to talk about abortion. Now, I don't know what the hell abortion has to do with labor rights, but it took us 2 months to get rid of him. Our case will be heard September 15th. We have filed to date something like 15 prohibited practice complaints, which are the equivalent of an NLRB complaint. So we're challenging this whole law. But that's not the end of it, because this really is politics. This is politics at its worst. And why I say Iowa, what they did in Iowa was Wisconsin on steroids, is by what else the Republicans did. They took away minimum wage. We had 5 counties in the state that raised the minimum wage above the $7.25 Iowa graciously pays people a minimum wage. And 5 counties moved that figure to $10 an hour. They told those 5 counties they couldn't do it. July 1st, all those people got a cut in pay. They gutted work comp. reduced the benefit level, and if you have a shoulder injury, for some reason, they really don't, employers don't like shoulder injuries, so they've greatly reduced benefits on shoulder injury. We passed a voter ID law, which means I either have to shave or go get a new ID, because if the picture on my voter ID, on my driver's license doesn't match what I look like, I will be denied my constitutional right to vote. They deappropriated the state in December by $118 million. Department of Corrections got hit with $7 million. DHS got hit with $50 million. They set school funding at 1.1%. Grand total of $40 million, and there are over 45,000 students in the state of Iowa. They got less than $1 a student. Something like that, an astronomically low amount. They eliminated a citizen's right to sue over asbestos claims. They limited their right to file lawsuits under medical issues. They banned project labor agreement. They defunded Planned Parenthood in the state of Iowa. So the Republicans in our state can brag that they did something before the federal government did, which really isn't much to brag about. That is a party that is gone. I described it as being drunk on power, but they haven't found AA yet. Right? They did this stuff not because anybody asked them to do it. I never seen one commercial in the state of Iowa that said, when you get elected, run by a Republican, that said, when I get elected, I'm going to go to Des Moines and I'm going to take away public employees' collective bargaining rights. Elect me, I'll go down to Des Moines and underfund schools. Elect me, I'll go down and defund Planned Parenthood. This was something that they did because they had the power to do it. And it's just wrong. Today, if a correctional officer wants to transfer from one prison to another, he has to fill out a new application as a new employee, and he's considered the same as somebody walking in off the street. So if it's my local president who's been trying to transfer from one prison to another, he has yet to even been interviewed. Right. Now, our funding under this Republican regime has gotten worse. 7 years ago, Iowa had a $1 billion surplus. Today we have 350, a $1 billion surplus. Now we have a $350 million deficit. And just yesterday, they gave Apple over $20 million to build a facility that will employ 50 employees. That's $400,000 an employee. So, what can you do? This happened in Wisconsin 5 years ago, folks. Wisconsin went from 66,000 members to 8. Iowa's going to go roughly from 14,500 to somewhere in the neighborhood of 10. I can't give you an exact figure because we haven't processed the dues run yet since we switched to the pledge-up system. Why was Iowa so much better? It's not because I was smarter. But I looked at what Wisconsin did, and I hope I don't offend anybody in this room, but it's probably what is going on in your state to a degree. You got fair share. If Sally don't want to join the union, who gives a shit, because we're still going to get a portion of her dues. That's what Wisconsin did. They never went out and talked to their members, ever. Chris won't like what I have to say. Every year I do 90 town hall meetings in the state of Iowa. I go to every facility. I go to every major city. And I let the members come in and ask me any question they want. They can yell at me, they can scream, they can tell me I'm the biggest piece of crap that walks on the face of the earth. That's their one day. But we go out and talk to our members. I believe that's why 5,500 of them stayed with us instead of 2,000, which is everybody was predicting. Right? So the challenge for you, the challenge for this council, the challenge for every council in this country is we got to start talking to our members. And if you're doing that, great. If you're not doing it, start doing it. Because if they come after you because you still have what I'm going to affectionately call a piece of shit governor and a legislature that don't like you, okay? I believe they're going to come after you. John Kasich's got one more year to inflict harm on you. And remember when he was running for president, they all described him as the reasonable guy in that clown car of 17 people? I said, how in the hell can you describe Kasich as a reasonable guy after what he tried to do to Ohio state employees, public employees? He's not reasonable. You got to go out and talk to your members. You got to go out and talk to your non-members. You got to tell them why the hell you want a union. Use Iowa as an example. You know, how many of you don't want to have a layoff procedure in your contract? Especially people sitting in this room, because you guys are probably described as the union thugs on the work site. Because you are the guys and gals that are out there raising hell with the employer every time they do something wrong. You're filing a grievance for that person. How would you like to not have a grievance procedure in your contract, folks? Iowa doesn't. Because grievances are a permissive subject to bargaining. So the employer doesn't have to bargain them with me. Used to be a mandatory subject. Right now, state employees do not have a grievance procedure. So if you're an employee of the executive branch, we have to go under the merit system. If you're an employee of the regent system, each university has their own grievance procedure. Think about that. You get fired. How many of you in this room have the ability to hire an attorney and go to court? Because that's the only option you got. In Iowa, we can go through the merit system. That's the boss's system. How fair do you believe that's going to be? But that's the only system that's available to Iowa state employees right now. The regent system, they have arbitration. But guess who gets to pick the arbitrator? The boss. And the loser of that arbitration pays the entire bill. This stuff is coming your way, folks. I never thought I'd see the day that Iowa would not have a collective bargaining law. I have one, but it's been gutted. So go out and talk to your members. Talk to those non-members. Explain to them what it could be like, what it will be like if you lose your law. Because I'll bet you, if they do something in Iowa, it's going to be very similar to or here in Ohio, it's going to be very similar to what they did in Iowa. Because this came right out of the ALEC playbook. You know, when I went to New York and talked, I talked for over an hour, and I've been told I can't talk that long. And I'm sure you don't want to sit and listen to it. So I'm gonna leave you with a couple closing comments. First, I want to thank Chris and the staff and members that came out to Iowa to help us in that pledge up process. You know, without you, we couldn't have signed up 5,500 people. Since Elise is still here, I want to thank the international staff who is still in Iowa today trying to help us put the pieces back together. Without their help, we couldn't have done it. But just like here, I want you to know it wasn't done by Dan Homan. It was done by our members. You know, I sit in a corner office, and every now and then they let me make a couple decisions, and I feel good. You know, I get to go to a lot of meetings. I get to yell at management a lot. They pay me to run my mouth, right? But it's our members that did it because having a collective bargaining law was important to them. So, the first thing I want to leave you with, something I say at every meeting, the end of every meeting. The employer cannot take your union away from you. Only you can give it up. And I'll be goddamned if after 32 years I'm giving up my union. It's up to you. If you want to have a union, you can have a union. If you want to give up, roll over, play dead, and let them do whatever the hell they want to do to you. Because that's what they're doing in Iowa right now. The final model that we have in Iowa right now is, first of all, don't feel sorry for us, because we will be back. I will elect a Democratic governor in November of 2018. Hopefully, I'll take back the Iowa House. But if I can elect a Democratic governor, I bargain a contract with the governor, and I'll guarantee you that governor that I help elect in November of 2018 by the name of Nate Bolton is going to give me everything back that I used to have in my contract. Everything, except dues deduction. But our model is we will build, we will survive, we will fight, we will survive, and we will build. I'm not laying down. And with the support of AFSCME International and other councils in this country, we will win. Now, Chris, I didn't know you were going to have 500 people here. So I bought 250 armbands so you guys can, and I'll send you another 250. We made a little bracelet. I've worn one of these since probably February 12th or 13th. And all it says is, ask me strong, never quit. My staff wear it, our members wear it. We can't wear pins anymore. But yeah, I can spot a union member a mile away because most of them have a green band on. And I'll get you another 250. Now, most of you in this room don't know who I am. I've known Chris for a while, since he's been on the board. I know crazy lady Buffy, wherever she's at. Buffy kind of hung out with us at a corrections conference one time. So, you know, some of you are probably sitting in the room saying, this guy's full of crap. That really didn't happen. So I brought a visual effect. This is our last contract, the old one. 256 pages, full of words, contract language, layoffs, how you schedule vacation, sick leave, all that kind of good stuff. This is a new state contract. 20 6 pages, of which 25 of those are pay grades and job classifications. We have really 1 page of words. There's our pay raises and the payday language for everybody in the state of Iowa. And the last page has paydays for people that are specifically assigned to the Department of Administrative Services. This stuff, this shit is real, folks. This is what state of Iowa employees are operating under today. Everything else is in their work rules, and I can't control them. So I'm begging you, whether you want to believe me or not, it's up to all of you in this room. It's not up to Chris and the folks sitting behind me or on your board. It's up to you. And we got to quit worrying about the little, what I call pissant shit in our world, and start worrying about building a union where we're going to be able to fight back when the employer comes after us, when the Republicans in this room come after us. And 1/3 of my membership is Republican, so I'd say that in Iowa, I'll say it here. We got to take these people out. We got to take them out. We got to take control of our council, our country, our state, and our union. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you for your help.
Before you leave the stage, Brother Homan, I need to just stand by for a second. If I could get that slide. You know, fellow Americans are always mixing up the Iowa, Idaho, and Ohio. I saw a t-shirt that said, "Greetings from Ohio, the great potato state," with a picture of Iowa on it. They got it all 3 wrong, so. It's the great potato state. We may be in different states. There's some very crucial ways we're the same. In the great state of Ohio and Iowa, we all live and die by our union card. We both have the best union activists in the entire country. And thank you. Nope. First, I want to tell you how important your fight for your workers' freedom was, not just for public employees of Iowa. But for those in every state. We're watching you, and we saw your blood and sweat and tears. We want you to know that we support you, and I have a check here for $5,000 from most of the SEA, and hope it helps you continue in your fight. Thank you, brother.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Excuse me, the delegate at Mike 4, for what purpose do you rise?
Hi, I'm John from Local 2578. Instead of that armband, I'd really like to have a copy of that contract because I can't think of anything better to show our members how real it is.
I'll leave this one with you. I'm leaving you tonight. I got to fly to Portland, Oregon, because I speak out there on Saturday. I'll leave this. If Chris wants more copies of these, I got a couple boxes in the office, and I'll be glad to send you some so you can give them out to your stewards, your leadership, This is the real deal, folks. This is the old contract. You can have them both.
Thank you. Delegate at mic 3, for what purpose do you rise?
My name is Tim McAllister, BWC Chapter 2535, and I rise for a point of personal privilege.
Please go ahead.
We are fortunate in Ohio that we still have our voice to be heard. And as we may disagree with each other as we go through our business this week, we need to remember that we are only as strong as we are collectively here in Ohio. What we heard from Brother Danny is the real fight that we must be focused on here. Therefore, on behalf of our chapter delegates that I brought with us today, we are proud to rise up and donate $2,500 to help our brother in his fight. Because their fight is our fight. I also challenge each of us to go beyond our personal agendas that we have and do what we can do to save the rights of collective bargaining. So please rise up and pledge.
Delegate at mic 2, for what purpose do you rise? Please state your name and chapter.
Ray Blackerby, 2501. Can I make a motion?
It would be out of order at point in time.
Then I request respectfully that OCSEA take that contract, that one-page contract, put it on our website for stewards under tools and resources,
That I can do, brother. That I can do.
along with any other contract that OCSEA is able to research for public employees that has ripped us apart
That I
and
can
made
do.
us less than what we should be.
God bless you. Delegate at mic 1, for what purpose do you rise?
Point of privilege. My
Ma'am.
name is Jill Tolman McKenzie. I'm the chapter president of Hamilton Claremont, chapter 3100, and we here hold a check for $500 for you today.
Thank you. Delegate at mic 3, for what purpose do you rise?
Point of privilege. My name is Brenda Mabe, and I'm the president of District 3. And District 3 would like to donate $500 to Brother Homan's fight in Iowa.
Thank you. Delegates at District 4, for what purpose do you rise?
Gina Campolo, President of District 5. We would like to donate $500 to your fight in Iowa.
Delegates at District 1, for what purpose do you rise?
Terrence McCormick, President of Chapter 1835. I know we're a small chapter. We pledge $250 to Iowa Council 61.
Thank you. Delegates at District 3, for what purpose do you rise?
I'm Tim Jones, Chapter 4720, Lorraine Correctional President. Chapter 4720 would like to donate $250 to Brother Homan for his fight in Iowa.
To the delegates at mic 4, for what purpose do you rise?
Jason Underhill, President, District 8. We would like to donate $500 to Brother Danny.
To the delegates at District 1, for what purpose do you rise?
Jeff Kondo, Vice President, District 9. We also like to donate $200 to fight for Danny.
God bless you. To the delegate at mic 2, for what purpose do you rise?
Kenny Kearns, Chapter President, DAS, Chapter 2570. Rise for point of personal privilege. Would also like to donate from DAS Chapter $1,000 to Brother Danny.
To the delegates at mic 3, for what purpose do you rise?
I'm Matt Tyak, and State Board of Directors. Industrial Commission Assembly 15 would like to donate $500, and Industrial Commission Chapter 2525 would like to donate $1,000.
To the delegate at Mike 1, for what purpose do you rise?
I'm Lyndon Baxter from Ross 7100, and our chapter would like to donate $500 to the Fight for Iowa.
To the delegate at District 2, for what purpose do you rise?
William Rager,
Mike
District
2, I'm
Court
sorry.
President. Point of personal privilege, we'd like to donate $500 to Brothers Cause here.
Thank you, brother. To the delegate at Mike 3, for what purpose do you rise?
Leslie Tilton, DRC, Central Office, Chapter 2597. We also would like to donate $500 to your fight.
To the delegates at Mike 1, what purpose do you rise?
Carrie Johnson, President, Chapter 3180, Cincinnati, Ohio. Summer Behavioral, we'd like to pledge $500 to the cause.
God bless you, sister. To the delegate at Mike 2, for what purpose do you rise?
Point of personal privilege, Donald Davison, Warren Correctional, Chapter 8330. We'd like to donate $1,000 to his cause.
God bless you, brother. To the delegate at Mike 3, for what purpose do you rise?
Brian Miller, Chapter 5110. We'd like to donate $500.
Thank you, Brother Miller. To the delegate at Mike 4, for what purpose do you rise?
I'm Rosetta Wells, Chapter 2710, Gallipolis. We don't have a whole lot of money, and convention's probably going to break us up. But if he'll let me know who to make the check out to, I will give him a check for $100 out of my own personal bank account.
Thank you, Sister Wells. To the delegate at Mike 1, for what purpose do you rise?
Jim LaRocca, President of Chapter 1801, who believes that an injury to one is an injury to all. We want to give $500 to Iowa.
Thank you, brother. To the delegate at Mike 2, for what purpose do you rise?
Amber Jika, Chapter 2580, Ohio Attorney General's Office. We understand, working for the Ohio Attorney General, the fight that you're fighting. We'd like to donate $250.
God bless you. To the delegate at Mike 3, for what purpose do you rise?
Good afternoon, Mr. President.
Good
sisters
afternoon.
and brothers. I'm Joe Wing, Treasurer Central Ohio, Chapter 2513, the home chapter of two previous past OCSA presidents. The Central Ohio chapter would like to donate $500 to our sisters and brothers in the great state of Iowa. And on a personal point, I'm going to donate $100. Thank you. Good afternoon.
God bless you. To the delegate at Mike 1, for what purpose do you rise?
Yes, Mr. President, this is Tom Buckley. I'm with Chapter 4800 President, along with my Vice President, Kathy Kerr. We would like to pledge $500 towards the cause in Iowa. Thank you.
God bless you. Thank you. To the delegate at Mike 2, for what purpose do you rise?
Johanna Pipes, CRC, Chapter 6545, on behalf of myself and our President and stewards, we'd like to donate $500 to you.
Thank you, sister. To the delegate at Mike 3, for what purpose do you rise?
We wanted to. I'm Jim Lee with the taxation 2595.
Yes, brother.
We'd like to donate $250.
God bless you, brother. Thank you so much. To the delegate at Mike 1, for what purpose do you rise?
I'm Jennifer Fitzpatrick, Chapter 7130, Ross Correctional Institution. We donate $250.
Thank you, sister. Thank you, Ross. To the delegate at Mike 2, for what purpose do you rise?
My name is Cindy Wicker from Chapter 2510, Ohio School for the Deaf, and we would like to pledge $250.
Thank you, sister. To the delegate at Mike 3, for what purpose do you rise?
Point of privilege, Mr. President. I'm Damon Neal of Chapter 2599 Delegate, and the delegate of Chapter 2599 would like to donate $1,000 to Danny's cause.
God bless you. Thank you. To the delegate at mic 1, for what purpose do you rise?
Mr. President, my name is Jerry Lugo. I'm the district vice president, and I stand with my brothers and sisters in District 1. And we feel the pain in Iowa, and we'd like to donate $1,000.
Thank you, brothers and sisters at District 1. To the delegate at mic 2, for what purpose do you rise?
Mr. President, I rise from Cuyahoga County, V. Skeeter Bibb, ODOT. I pledge $250, not out of my chapter 1804, but personally, $250.
God bless you, sister. Thank you. To the delegate at mic 3, for what purpose do you rise?
Mr. President, I'm from Erie, Huron, Chapter 2201. I'd
Brother.
like to donate $1,500 for your cause.
Thank you, brother. To the delegate at mic 4, for what purpose do you rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Steve Coleman, President of the Muskingum Coshocton Chapter 6000, and we would like to donate $250 to our brothers and sisters in Iowa.
Thank you, brother. To the delegate at mic 1, for what purpose do you rise?
Mr. President, Dave Clooney, Chapter 5410, would like to donate $200.
Thank you, brother. To the delegate at mic 2, for what purpose do you rise?
Mr. President, Pickaway Correctional Institution 6550 is willing to pledge $500 to the cause.
Thank you, brother. To the delegate at mic 3, for what purpose do you rise?
Mr. President, Cheryl Ray, Chapter President, 2545, would like to pledge $500 to the cause.
Thank you, 2545. To the delegate at mic 4, for what purpose do you rise?
Mike Wilson, Chapter 7020, will donate $250. Fight hard.
God bless you, brother. To the delegate at mic 2, for what purpose do you rise?
Janice Camper, VMV Chapter 2503. I rise because I have an alternate here from our chapter, Willis McClure, and he wants to pledge $100 from his own pocket.
God bless him. To the delegate at mic 3, for what purpose do you rise?
Hi, Richland Correctional Institution, and we want to donate $200 for the cause.
Thank you, Ricky. To the delegate at mic 4, for what purpose do you rise?
Well, I'm Matt Tyack again, State Board of Directors, and I'd like to donate $250 out of my own money towards our brothers and sisters in Iowa.
Thank you, Brother Tyack. To the delegate at mic 1, for what purpose do you rise?
Amy Salazar, Chapter 8900, $250.
God bless you. Thank you, sister. To the delegates at mic 2, for what purpose do you rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. Denise Reed from Chapter 2529. We would like to pledge $300 to the cause.
Thank you, sister. To the delegate at mic 3, for what purpose do you rise?
Yes, Mr. President, I'm Dale Bullocks, and I'm with Local 4700, District 3. And contingent upon majority votes, since our president isn't here, we only have 3 members, we will be donating $500 to our brothers and sisters.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. To the delegate at mic 4, for what purpose do you rise?
Joyce Sheets, Department of Education, Chapter 2565, and we would like to donate $250 to the cause.
Thank you, sister. To the delegate at mic 2, for what purpose do you rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm a 45-year union activist, and I'm also secretary for District Council 2 and Chapter 0900, Butler County, Preble County, too. And I'd like to donate $300 out of my own personal check to this cause. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie Dean. Thank you. To the delegate at mic 3, for what purpose do you rise?
Treva Nazel, Natural Resource Assembly. We'd like to donate $500.
Thank you, Sister Treva. To the delegate at mic 4, for what purpose do you rise?
Mickey Riffle, Hocking Chapter 3700, and we would like to donate $200 to the cause and
God bless you, sister.
$50 from my own pocket.
Thank you. To the delegate at mic 2, for what purpose do you rise?
Eldred Davis, Franklin Chapter 2500. We would like to donate $1,000.
Thank you, Brother E.D. To the delegate at mic 3, for what purpose do you rise?
Good afternoon, Mr. President. I'm Gloria Piggies, Commerce Chapter 2501, Commerce East. We would like to donate $500.
Thank you, Commerce. To the delegate at mic 4, for what purpose do you rise?
Good afternoon, President. Knox Licking 45, we'd donate $500.
Thank you, Knox Licking. To the delegate at mic 1, for what purpose do you rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of the Ohio Department of Insurance, Chapter 2555, we'd like to donate $250. Right on.
Thank you, 2555. To the delegate at mic 2, for what purpose do you rise?
Hi, Mr. President. Tracy Charles, Chapter President, 2503. We'd like to pledge $250.
Thank you, 2503. To the delegate at mic 4, for what purpose do you rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm with Wayne County ODOT at Chapter 8500, and we're going to donate $100.
Thank you, Wayne County. To the delegate at mic 4, for what purpose do you rise?
Hello, I'm Patricia Williams from 2578 Columbus, Ohio, and contingent approval will donate $250 towards Iowa.
Thank you, sister. To the delegate at mic 2, for what purpose do you rise?
Luella Day Jeter, Treasurer of District 6. We'd like to donate $1,000.
Thank you, District 6. To the delegate at mic 3, for what purpose do you rise?
Mike Figueroa, President of Chapter 4710, and pending approval of my membership, will donate $100.
Thank you, Brother Figueroa. To the delegate at mic 4, for what purpose do you rise?
Sabrina Bell, Vice President of ODOT Assembly, and we are pledging $500.
Thank you to the ODOT Assembly. Delegate at mic 2, for what purpose do you rise?
On behalf of the Dayton-Cincinnati BWC, District 2, Chapter 381, we donate $300.
Thank you, District 2 BWC. To the delegate at mic 3, for what purpose do you rise?
Amy Ray, President of Chapter 2200, OVH at Sandusky. Pending approval of the board, we would like to donate $250 to the cause.
Thank you, Sister Ray. To the delegate at mic 4, for what purpose do you rise?
Andrew Smith, Reynoldsburg 4550. We'd like to pledge $500 to the cause.
Thank you, brother. To the delegate at mic 2, for what purpose do you rise?
Tanya Tolliver, 5725 Chapter. DCI will pledge $500.
Thank you, 5725. To the delegate at mic 3, for what purpose do you rise?
Chapter 7000, Richland Crawford would like to donate $250 to the cause.
Thank you, Chapter 7000. To the delegate at mic 2, for what purpose do you rise?
Yes, Mr. President. Donald Huntsbarger, Chapter 7820, President, Trumbull Correctional. Upon approval from my executive board, we'd like to donate $250 to the cause in Iowa.
Thank you, Trumbull. To the delegate at mic 1, for what purpose do you rise?
Shelley King, Chapter President, 2578, and a point of personal privilege. A harm to one is a harm to all, and I'll donate $100 out of my own pocket.
Thank you, Sister King. To the delegate at mic 4, for what purpose do you rise?
Julie Mathena, Vice President of the EPA Assembly. We pledge $250.
Thank you, EPA Assembly. To the delegate at mic 2, for what purpose do you rise?
On behalf of District 2 Vice President Sandra Lewis, we, our District 2, will donate $500.
Thank you, District 2. To the delegate at mic 2, for what purpose do you rise?
I'd like to donate $500 from Preble Butler 0900. I'm Jackie Shriver.
Thank you, Preble Butler. To the delegate at mic 1, for what purpose do you rise?
Robert Cheatham, President, Chapter 1820. We'd like to donate $250.
Thank you, brother. To the delegate at mic 4, for what purpose do you rise?
Lisa Mail, Secretary Treasurer for Chapter 8400. We donate $200.
Thank you, Chapter 8400. To the delegate at mic 2, for what purpose do you rise?
Hi, point of order. Christina Cassidy with Franklin Chapter 2500. As a transplanted Iowan, I'd like to donate $50 of my own money to help the cause. Y'all are bringing me to tears.
God bless you, sister. To the delegate at mic 3, for what purpose do you rise?
Tom Holden, ORW 8010. We'd like to pledge $250 to the Brothers' Cause.
Thank you, brother. To the delegate at mic 4, for what purpose do you rise?
Brenda Russell, Secretary, Chapter 4100, Jefferson, Belmont, Harrison. Upon pending approval of our board, I would like to donate $250.
Thank you, sister. To the delegate at mic 2, for what purpose do you rise?
Sandra Lewis, Chapter 5700, Montgomery. We donate $250.
Thank you, Montgomery. Can we take just a few minutes? Yes. I apologize. To the delegate at mic 1, for what purpose do you rise?
President R.G. Jones, Toledo Correctional Institution. Upon approval of the E-Board, will donate another $500.
Thank you, Toledo. To the delegate at mic 1, for what purpose do you rise?
Jeff Connolly, AOCI. Upon approval, we're going to donate $800. Chapter 02.
Thank you, brother. To the delegate at mic 4, for what purpose do you rise?
Brian Finley, Treasurer of Chapter 2320, Fairfield Perry. Pending approval of our members, we'd like to donate $500.
Thank you, brother. To the delegate at mic 4, for what purpose do you rise?
Gina Camplo, President of MHDODD OVS Assembly. We've been struggling in all of these agencies here. We all stand with you. Pending approval of our board, we would like to donate $500 to your cause.
Thank you, sisters.
You know, once again, the heart of OCSEA is spoken. I am so very proud of you, as we all are up here. And if this is the least we can do for you, you have our hearts. Thank you so much. You have all donated $38,850. Yes!
That's how Ohio do it.
Wow. You know, I've been around this union for 30 years. And I come from a small council. I have never seen anything like this in my life. Thank you. The only thing I can say is, you know, when Wisconsin went through their fight, I moved my entire staff up to Wisconsin for 4 weeks, and we were there when they were fighting Walker. We went back when they did the recall. We were here when you guys did your fight. I had some of my staff come over when Cincinnati was doing something on some crazy bill. I think it had to do with the pension or something. I've always prided our council on the fact that when there was somebody in need that we would go and help. I never thought it would be us. So the pledge you have, as long as I'm walking and sitting in the chair I sit in, anytime Ohio needs anything, ask me, Council 61 will be there in spades. We will be, your fight will be our fight if they come after you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, from the members of Council 61. I am just, I don't know what to say. Thank you. The generosity here is, I'm never going to be able to harass Lee Saunders about the Buckeyes again. You know, I think I'm going to adopt the Buckeyes. God Almighty, thank you very much. God bless you all.